literacy textbook to learn about Hamilton's method. So the question I copied over here, it says a city has 21 fire trucks that are assigned to one of 5 fire stations. The new fire chief decides to allocate trucks to stations in proportion to the number of fires reported in each station's district over the last 3 months given in table 2.3. Whatever of the fire trucks using Hamilton's method. That was pathetic. Okay, anyway, so the main thing that you need to be able to take away from this here is that the city has 21 fire trucks. So the total number of things to be allocated is 21. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find what's called the natural divisor. And the natural divisor is defined as the total population divided by the number of things to be allocated. So let's find out what the total population is. So we're going to add up the sum, or we're going to add up the number of fires that occurred in each of the districts. And we're going to find out that we have 686 fires reported across the different districts. This information they gave to us. They told us that there are 5 stations, and they told us the number of fires in each station. To kind of generalize beyond this particular problem, this is the population, and this is like the name of each thing, and this is the number of things to be allocated. So the natural divisor is just going to be the total population, which is the 686, divided by the number of things to be allocated. And we're going to get 32.666667, whatever, right? So now we're going to find what's called the natural quota. The natural quota is simply defined as the individual population divided by the natural divisor. So the individual population for station 1, or the number of fires that occurred in this district, was 154, and we're going to divide that by 32.6667, or the natural divisor. So we're going to do that for each of the populations to figure out what the natural divisors are. The natural quotas are for each of the different districts. This is important because it makes finding the initial allocations extremely simple. Okay, so now we're going to find what's called the initial allocations. So the initial allocation is just the natural quota, which is this column over here, rounded down. So here we have 4.7, so that's just going to be 4. This we have 2.5, so it's just going to be 2. Here we have 3 point whatever, this is going to be 3, 6 point something is just 6, and 3 point whatever is just 3. Now, we don't know how many we've allocated, so let's see how many we've allocated, and then we're going to see how many we have left. So if we add up the total number of fire trucks that we've given out in this district over here, we'll see that we have allocated 18. So the total number of fire trucks that we have is 21, and we've given out, or we've apportioned 18 of them. So if we look at, let's say, the number left to be allocated, we'll see that we have the number that we began with minus the number that we've given out, and we'll see that we have 3. So according to Hamilton, the way that we figure out which of the stations get the additional 3 is by looking at the decimals. So if we look at the decimals, let me make a decimals column. Here, the decimals, let's say 7.1, it's just the number after the period. The second decimal is 5.4, then comes 9.4, then comes 6.4, then comes 1.5. In this example, I only need to round to 2 decimal places, or truncate, because they're all very different. If, let's say, 2 of them were 0.64, like if this was 6.64 and then we had 3.64, we would need to look at the third digit, but it really makes no difference here. So we're going to give an extra fire truck to the stations with the largest allocations. So 0.94 is the largest of the decimals, so we're going to add 1 to the initial allocation for station 3. So so 3 plus 1 is, 3 plus 1 is just 4. The next highest seems to be 0.71, so 4 plus 1 is 5, and now we've used up 2 of the 3 that we had left to allocate. So now the next highest seems to be 0.64, so we're going to add 1 to 6, and we get 7, and we're just going to copy over from the initial allocation the ones that had the lower decimals. And if we take the sum or the total of the final allocation, if we do 5 plus 2, oops, this is sad, 5 plus 2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 3, we get 21. So we began with the goal of giving out 21 fire trucks according to Hamilton's method, and initially we were able to give out 18 fire trucks, but Hamilton says to give an additional fire truck to the fire stations according to the largest decimal, and we did that in the final allocation, and this is the total number of fire trucks that each station would get. In your textbook, they don't have a decimals column because they want you to sort of look at it and sort of be able to tell without needing to write it down. But the reason why I put it here is because it just makes it easier to show your work. But if you were to write this on the exam, this with the natural divisor and things like that, you're going to get it right and you're going to get a perfect score. I hope this has been helpful. Comment if you need more assistance.